I've done this. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good. Let me say that you look particularly relaxed.
I'm having some fun. I'm having a little bit of fun.
Good.
We're testing some fun stuff, aren't we?
Yes. I'm asking the chat room, how's the sound?
All right. We'll check in on the chat room. Hello, chat. Good to have you around. We're hoping this is going as expected.
Yeah.
Because, that's... so Absablog and Lutley, thank you. Sounds pretty good to me. Awesome. Good to hear.
Good.
Excellent. Yes. Well, I'm not at the house.
You're not at the house.
No, I'm not. In fact, I'm in here. I can actually kind of, we'll do a little pan here. I'm on the road. I'm in St. Regis, Montana.
Oh.
And I'm driving cross country.
How did the
as
heat
we've
dome?
talked about. No, I'm actually driving with the heat dome. That's how much of an idiot I am.
Yeah, you don't look particularly sweaty, so I was just wondering.
Yeah, it's only 75 degrees, but it's or let's see here. I can actually, 73 degrees here at 10 a.m. in St. Regis. Yeah, I can even, we can even flip. You want to go single shot on me real quick?
Yeah, give me, where is J-Shock? There we go.
There we go. You can actually flip and you all can see this is the St. Regis Community Park in St. Regis, Montana. And one of the biggest things they are known for is they have a annual lumberjack festival. And if we could look past these trees over this way, you could actually see the big poles where they have the lumberjacks to do the climb thing and then they come straight down. I don't know. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times. And yeah.
That's a Canadian staples, like the lumberjack, those lumberjack things. Festivals, yeah.
Visio MVP is actually saying, according to Star Trek rules, do I want to be wearing a red shirt? You got to remember, Visio MVP, I work in Scott Guthrie's organization, so a red shirt is a little, especially a polo shirt.
Yes, it all depends, because in the next generation, the red shirts were command, and they never died.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So was that was it the blue shirts or the gold shirts that died back then?
The gold shirts, because that's when the security teams were always wearing gold.
That's right. So they always.
But so did engineering. So
yeah, that was a little. Oh well.
Yeah. Yep. But and technically, this is a shirt that I got. It's from Old Works, which is a Jack Nicklaus designed golf course here in Montana. I'm actually going to be driving by it on the way through.
Yeah, I played for the first time yesterday. Did not go as planned.
Did not go as planned, huh?
Well, I have to admit, so this is my first game this year. I only played once last summer.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play a lot.
Yeah.
So I shot a 98, but I got all but 2 holes of a minimum 3 putts.
Ouch.
So let's say, for sake of arguments, that I take 2 putts on these holes instead of 3 or 4. Now I'm playing a low 80s, which is what I would normally if I played more often. But I was playing this course is my dad's course. He's a member. It's a private course. I don't play there often because can't afford it. The greens are like putting on glass.
Yes.
So you like the stick rating on that thing is just ridiculous. You hit the ball and it just like goes.
Scoots on. Yeah, it just scoots. Yeah. Yeah.
So it takes you a few games to actually start to get the feel of how much you need to touch it to go. And all the greens are like this, so there's never just a single break. It's always a break this way and a break that way, and we're uphill and down here. Like, it was hell. But it was Canada Day. I was off. I had a beer in my hand, and I was playing golf. So
Nice.
could have been worse.
It could have been way worse. Let's say a quick hello to the folks in the chat room. We got Absablog and Lutely, Aspen Forester, AZ Cloud Elf, Computix, I Am Per, Mr. Richard Campbell, and Visio MVP.
Mr. Campbell, yeah, I really appreciated Mr. Campbell joining the show last week, even though he kind of took the Mr. Patch and Mr. Switch by surprise.
A little bit, but it was more as Mr. Campbell and I were privately talking after the show. It was a little bit of identity hell. Trying to figure out how to get a connection.
So you were actually testing in production during a show that's not in production.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. As he said, as he says in chat, it was a technical miracle. Computix and I have been chatting. He used to live in Montana, down where I lived for a few years. Okay. I lived in the Bitterroot Valley near Stevensville, and he lived in Hamilton. I also lived in Bozeman. I went to school there, and then started a business there. So
Bozeman, Montana.
Bozeman, Montana.
What do you call the people from Bozeman?
Is that your dog?
Those are my dogs. I guess my daughter just got home, so the dogs are going nuts.
I couldn't tell if it was there or here, and I had to look for some wild dogs coming at me.
They're Bozers? No, says they're Bozers.
No. No. They're idiots. Anyway. No, I actually don't know what the Bozemanites, I guess, is. What,
Bosies?
I never. No, not Bosies.
Bostonians?
Bostonians, something like that. Yeah. But no, I started my drive to New York yesterday, and I got to Spokane, and then this morning I got up early. I know I tweeted a couple pictures I got up technically I got up at like 3 a.m. I woke up and just couldn't fall back to sleep. So I just, and I watched the actual sunrise about 4:35 in the morning.
Okay.
And then got up and packed up and headed out. And then I drove over 4th of July Pass and Lookout Pass, which Lookout Pass is the border between Idaho and the states of Idaho and Montana. And that's also where you switch to Mountain Daylight Time from Pacific. Okay. So all of a sudden I had a whole bunch of like, it's 9:15. Wait, what? And it's like, oh no, that's right. I'm in Montana. Show will start at 10, not at 9. But, and then, I'll be driving the rest of the day to Bismarck, North Dakota, through Missoula, Bozeman, and Billings, and then to Bismarck, North Dakota, spend the night there, and then from Bismarck, I'll be heading to Milwaukee.
Woohoo.
Milwaukee.
So how long do you expect the drive to take?
I'll be actually pulling into New York by my estimation next Wednesday night. And that's with a full day stop in Milwaukee for 4th of July to hang out with a friend of ours, Mr. Peter Gray. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to spend Tuesday morning in Columbus, Ohio with Mr. Buckeye Guy J-Flow.
Yep.
So it'll be a fun time. I've been looking forward to the trip. I've already almost through audiobook number 1. I bought 7, so we'll see how the rest of the day goes.
Yeah, my wife is texting me. Oh, my car's engine light is on, and she's about to leave for a trip, and she's like, "Can you come and check it out?" I'm like, I am online right now, so can you wait till after the show?
Can she? Can you?
She's asking me what time is that? What time is it now?
It is
12:10.
so that'll be 1 o'clock.
1 p.m. Let's see if that works.
See if that works. But yeah, so and we talked about doing the show, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm actually going to be on the road. Do you mind running the show? And then I was going to do this. So we are actually utilizing Skype.
Yep.
I am on my cell phone. This is my cell phone. I've got a little tripod here. I can actually kind of show everybody my little setup here. I'll disconnect the phone, and we'll tap to change the view again. But I have a little tripod here with a phone mount. And it's just a little tripod that's just, it's a nice little single stick. It actually extends out there's 2 more sticks that extend out.
Okay.
And then I have my Surface Pro X here, which is on LTE, and that's what I'm running chat through.
So that also means that I just noticed on your screen that you are dog fooding.
Yes, I am. I am eating. What was it? We had a CIO that was like, I don't like the term dog fooding, so we're going to be eating our own ice cream. What?
That only works. That only works if you're making ice cream.
Exactly. And sometimes, yeah. But yes, I am using Windows 11 on here. I've had this machine on the Insider Dev channel, and earlier this week, I got Windows 11. I'm like, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so do I. I'm running Windows 11, which is why I was asking about the sound, because once it got installed, for some reason, it did not happen on my other machine, which is kind of my test bench. But this is my court machine, so it kind of magically got Windows 11. And all of my sound settings got messed up. So,
I didn't have that problem with the Surface Pro X.
No, but I think it's mostly because I've got so many sound input into that. Like it defaulted to my AverMedia capture card as my sound input, which there's nothing. The AverMedia, it controls the top view camera. And there's no sound to it because the sound is turned off. So I don't know why. So when we first connected, I could hear Jared go. I was
like, hey, I don't know if you can hear me. Hello.
Yep. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? I can actually do that across Montana.
The other thing I was thinking you might be doing is like taking the show while driving.
I thought about that. Actually, I have a meeting I have to attend at 4 p.m. Pacific today, and I'm taking it from the car while I'm driving. So that should be fun. And it is a video conference call.
So does the Teams mobile client allow you to change your background?
You can blur your background, but that's about it. But I never do that so that people know I'm driving.
Because I was going to say, you just sit there and put a background of your office, and they won't know the difference.
They would hear a lot of the noises in the car, but yeah, that might work. I will also point out, I didn't bring it up when I was talking about it. I have my nice Anchor large battery so that I don't, running video obviously on a cell phone is going to drain as a huge battery drainer. So I have my Anchor battery pack just keeping my phone juiced while I'm sitting here.
So the other thing is I'm looking at because we've I've got my full bars on my 5G right now, so
nice.
I got my second shot this week. So now I'm starting to consider in-person events. I was contacted by the people who run the Live 360 event in November, and they're like, "Hey, we have these 3 sessions that you 3 slots that we would like you to fill out. Is that something you can do?" And I'm like, yes, it is. Looking so forward to it. But now I'm gonna start thinking, if we're traveling, how do we start broadcasting while we're traveling? So,
exactly.
This is a good test. We're literally testing in production.
Yeah, and it's going to be something. So for testing and production, we use OBS and to get it into Twitch. For AZ Update, you guys utilize what was it again?
StreamYard. StreamYard.
Yep.
There's Streamlabs. There's StreamYard. There's a mini Melon.
Yep.
There's a whole bunch of them. They're pretty much all the same from what I can see. Easier, but not as much. Maybe the next time when we're both remote, we'll use StreamYard so we'll show what the differences are.
Exactly. And one of the nice things though about using something like StreamYard that's cloud based is everyone could be remote.
Yes.
So I know we did talk about this week though. You were talking about I might have to put OBS on the laptop so I can go out by the pool.
I was going to, and I've set it up on my Surface Book. I have the cameras outside of the office on the tripod. The only thing that I did not do that is I went outside this morning and I looked up and there are some really black clouds at the horizon. So I'm thinking, so if I'm on the deck and it starts pouring, maybe the extension cord going inside, or I'm not taking any chances. So I can
totally get that.
Because today is officially a vacation day for me.
Nice. Well, thank you for joining the broadcast. Technically, it's a vacation day for me as well, but thanks for joining the broadcast on vacation day.
Yeah. Well. So. Speaking of testing and production, like for us, it's dog food. So for people who are not familiar with Blue Badge vernacular, we call it dog food program, where or insider, or like internal insider, where we get the builds of OS's teams. So sometimes our team's builds are a couple versions ahead of what the stable commercially available release is at. Yes,
that does happen.
Which may be for some reason why sometimes it gets a little unstable at our end. But we are, it's one way for us to test in production and to get real life scenarios. But one thing that we do get a lot of is once we have bugs, we have, what's it called? The hub, the feedback hub.
The feedback hub. Yeah, it's become a very good way for people to get information in. It's a incredible tool, and what we're finding is what I'm finding is not only does a feedback hub actually sorry, I got my mosquito. Exactly, sorry. But what people don't understand is when you fill out the feedback hub and you utilize the tools in it, that information gets directly entered into the work item tracking as a bug.
Yep.
Now they may tie it to duplicates or whatever, but it all your information every time you submit a feedback hub item, especially a bug report.
Yep.
All that information goes to the team of the application of whatever you've selected. Let's say you're doing file share and you're having a file share problem, and you capture all the information. Probably Ned Pyle is going to get your work item to look at, or somebody from his team. Most
likely, and it does collect telemetry on your machine, and it does collect if you because for myself, I've reported, I think it was 3 or 4 little glitches that I've had on Windows 11 since I got it early this week. And for me, because I'm logged in and I'm internal, so it does capture my information. But if you're external and you're outside, because it's on every Windows version, it doesn't actually collect anything.
It collects
Personal
only
other
what you
than-
allow it to.
Exactly, and how to contact you. So if you're registered with a Microsoft account, it'll collect the Microsoft account ID so that it can email you back saying, hey, we've triaged this and this is a duplicate, so we're going to close yours as a duplicate, but add your information to the original case, which is what we've been doing so far.
Yikes, yeah.
So that's happened to me on 2 of the items that I reported. Just right away come back and say, hey, yeah, this is a duplicate, so we know about it. They're already working on it. I wondered if one of them was fixed by the patch that I got, the internal patch that I got this morning. But
it'll be good to know.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
And when I tell people, you can actually search through the feedback hub and see if there's something that's already been submitted.
Yeah.
One thing that I tell people is always either vote up if you see a bug that is exactly what you're running into, or always submit a bug in the feedback tool. Even if, the votes up and resubmissions that are duplicates, yes, they may mark yours as a duplicate, but they're going to start raising the prioritization of that bug based on how many people are putting it in the feedback hub.
Yeah.
So
there's
that's what
votes.
Yep.
Upvote right here.
Yep.
So if there's already something that you search and it's there, then upvote it. That just means +1. And if not, fill it.
The other nice thing is if there's already a bug or some piece of feedback and you upvote it, there is a way that you can comment, and let's say it's a bug, you can actually add your telemetry to that same bug.
Yeah.
So you can. It's an incredible system. Like I said, it's tied into the work item tracking system for most of the teams. That's why you're seeing a lot more Microsoft product teams moving to getting the information via the feedback hub. One, they can get it makes it easier for you to provide telemetry instead of, I know folks, I've run into this before of, hey, can you send me a copy of this log? Okay, can you take this screenshot? Nope, it captures all that, which is great.
Yeah,
and
it does tell you, like, okay, do you want to get a screenshot or you want to record the problem? And recording the problem, it doesn't actually take a it doesn't take a video of your screen captured. And in my case, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 monitors. So it's not like it records all 5 monitors. It really is as you click through. Do you remember the there was a
problem step recorder?
The problem step recorder, where every time you would click or type, it would snapshot where you are. So as you would navigate and click on different things, it would snapshot that thing and then basically stitch them all together and send that. And that's what it does.
Yeah.
I have to check. Does it still, the step
problem
step recorder is still in Windows 11?
Yay!
Very happy about that.
So one use that we used problem step recorder for was for documentation.
Oh, it's perfect for documentation.
Exactly. You get all the screenshots. Someone could just go through and do the click. Okay, now take that. Like it would give you the screenshots plus what you did, and you could copy and paste that into like in our case.
It's an HTML document, so you could import it into Word. You could import it into anything that really reads Markdown, and then from there just put actual description.
Yeah, put in the additional information, and half of your work is done by that.
Yeah, somebody said, IamPer says he hasn't seen any click-through training videos in a while, but sort of the same idea. The click-through videos, we used to use a tool from a company, and I can't remember the name of it, where it would actually record your click-through so that you could play them back. But now they've changed to a service company instead of a software company. And now they just charge you to come and record the click-through for you. and then they
Yeah.
produce an exe that you run and it shows it. So it's a lot less. I'm having a brain fart because I can't remember the name of that company.
I don't even remember I don't know which company you're talking about, but
I know a lot of like executives would get their demos done that way because first of all, in a keynote that it's going to work. You don't have to. You could just kind of like wiggle your fingers above the keyboard, and it would actually on the video it actually kind of like type as opposed to just appear.
Yeah.
So you could really simulate a real environment. I never had a problem with that, and even to this day, and I'd like the chat to speak up on that. Do you mind recorded videos? Do you care if it's a recorded videos? Not videos, I mean demos. If it's a recorded demos, or does it have to be live demo for you to consider it a technical session? Because I know with MITT last year when we went all over the world, not last year, it's like almost 2 years ago now. Jesus.
Oh, Pierre. I know.
But because going to places where in some conference center, we didn't know what to expect in terms of
connectivity,
that we would record them and then we would play the recording. But I always made sure to tell my audience, okay, though I'm going to play recorded videos, I'm going to pause them and explain them to them as we go. The reason is there's twofold. Number one, we never know what kind of internet we're going to get, and if two people are doing the same session in two different cities at the same time, which is possible, one could basically stamp on top of the other. And the second reason is I can guarantee you they'll work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I a couple years ago, I was speaking a lot at SharePoint events, and I actually spoke with several other speakers. We were at a networking event, and someone brought us Todd Clint that brought it up that he started doing video recordings of his demos. And the reason why he started doing that was he did a SharePoint event that was actually a cruise. And at that time, there was no internet on the cruise.
Yep.
So he had to record. And after that, he's like, hey, this is nice. So he always has recordings. He tries to do it live, but if the live is like not working, he drops in and is like, okay, yeah, I've got a recording. Let's watch the recording.
Yeah. Iamper says there's been a one Microsoft conference where all of the presenters had was Wi-Fi. And when you get, if you're at Ignite and you have to share Wi-Fi with the audience, your demo is not going to work.
Yeah.
What I do had a problem with is people that will use videos, and that was one on my team years ago. Not my current team, one of my old team. No longer Microsoft. He's actually gone. Which would play have the video player, but stretch the video player so that the Chrome of the video player and the controls would be outside of the areas that he was projecting.
Ooh.
So he was recording them, but he was passing them as live demos. That lack of transparency is the only thing I've had a problem with.
Yeah. I've actually helped set up demos for people in my organization, just even for internal meetings, like internal, all hands meetings.
Yeah.
And one of the great things we have is we do so much work on command line items. We can actually take, and like we had in one video that I helped to create, we took one command line and we sped it up. I think we sped it up to 4 times, and the other one was at 1 time to show the difference. And we showed we even showed like a time bar so people could see, this thing, what we just did, cut the need by 3 or by at least a quarter of the time, and we could actually show the output from the command lines.
Yeah. absolutely say he hates the scheduled demos that are seen recently where all of the content is recorded and the moderators are just not paying attention. You might just as well be online on demand, which it's true. I have done a few pre-recorded webcasts, but I make sure that I'm in the chat or in the and I'm taking questions and I'm answering, so I am paying attention. But I do agree that sometimes when you get either moderators that are not necessarily committed or invested in the contents, some might not pay as much attention.
That's where I like having a recorded demo is fine, but you're talking to the talking about and to the demo, not a fully recorded session. That's where I very much agree with Absolblog and Lootly. If it's a fully recorded session, I'd rather have that on demand than some sort of live. I mean, it is nice to be able to speak with a speaker. I know you've done that before at a couple of places.
But my first question was not if you like recorded entire sessions. Like I would do live sessions, but the demos would be recorded.
Exactly.
And in editing, when you run a command and it'll take 5 minutes. I would like shrink that time to like 5 seconds.
Yes.
Because who wants to see a progress bar?
Yep.
So it give us more time to actually cover content and then just waiting for it to finish.
Yeah. Richard Campbell brings up the challenges having the same energy level in a recording versus live. There is an urgency to live that engages people. True enough.
Yep.
I mean, we're all waiting for the live demo to bomb. I mean, I am a speaker and I have good friends that are speakers. Yet I'm just like, come on, let's go down network. Let's see an error here. Let's see how they handle it.
I don't. I'm always rooting for the speaker. I want him to succeed, and because nobody really wants to see him crash and burn unless well, there may be one person or two that's I like giggle, but
I'd like to see how they handle it. Because there's some that are great at handling it.
Well, we used to have we used to have the gauntlet. Do you remember the gauntlet? Or
no,
you ever run that?
I never had to run the gauntlet.
That was part of the DPE when we were developer and platform evangelism several years back. And before you were allowed to present in public, you had to run the gauntlet, which is you would get a topic. You had half an hour to prepare. You had 15 minutes to present. And you would walk into the room and they had done something with the room.
Yep.
They've unplugged the switch, or they would unplug the switch halfway through. You would have people that were on audio, so call in, and then all of a sudden somebody would flush a toilet while you're presenting. Just everything they could to throw you off and see how you would recuperate. The point was not to screw you up. The point was absolutely to see how you dealt with it. They would have a heckler in the room.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. We did. I did some training recently for public speaking at Microsoft, and it was exactly that. And it was, I actually had a 10-minute presentation, and I had a heckler. I had someone who was not paying attention, and I had someone who purposely was killing their Wi-Fi. And they were the fully engaged person, but their video would go away. They come back. They go away. They come back, and they were trying to mess you up on the virtual call. Yeah. And I've also done that same training in person for an in-person, in-room thing. So
I remember the worst that's ever happened to me is I was just about to start my demo, and my machine froze, and I'm like, uh-oh, and all of a sudden it blue screened. So I very quickly hit the logo button on the Folsom to show the logo, and I walked away from the desk and I saw one of my teammates that was in the first row, and I pointed at him and I pointed at the machine and I walked away from the podium, so the lights followed me to the other end of the stage. He was able to come in, reboot my machine, get the power going, and then I walked back and then switched back to the PowerPoint, and we kept going, and then I got into my demo. But you always have helping hands close by.
That is super helpful. That is really super helpful.
Yep.
One thing I wanted to talk about also is, we talk about problems that we've run into. I mean, take a look. I've had some serious problems with especially patch and switch recently, where multiple crashes. We finally figured out. Yes, I've replaced the memory. If you watched patch and switch last week, you saw that we went the whole show no crashes. Well, that's because the memory was swapped and everything is now good. There. So,
and another live testing and production, we talked about this, is you brought in Mr. Campbell as a unexpected guest. I want you to cover how you did this in OBS while not affecting the scenes that the boys were in at the time, because I had to do the broadcast for our event we had in February, and to bring Mark Razinovich, because Mark Razinovich was not going to come in for a live Q&A ahead of watching his own 45-minute keynote.
Right.
So he had supplied the keynote because we were playing it in multiple time zone in multiple different times. So he says, okay, so I'll record the keynote for you, and I'm going to come in just in time for the live Q&A for all three sessions, for all three time zones that we were covering.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, how on OBS am I going to bring him into a scene without screwing up the video that's playing? And the risk is really high.
There is a very high risk. In the case of patch and switch, I luckily have what I call a three shot, which is right now, this is in the biz, they would call this a two shot. There's Pierre and Pierre's kind of oops, no, he's yep. He's up here and I'm down over here. The other way. Yeah, exactly. I already had a 3-shot set, and I had a specific kind of scene for the third for the guest. However, I did have to make updates, and I did have to switch the NDI, and there's a whole bunch of things that I had to do. So if you want to flip over to the desktop here, and here we are in OBS.
Yep.
I actually utilized, there's a studio mode.
So if I click on studio mode, which studio mode is also right here.
Yep.
So I turn it to studio mode.
So the first thing I did was I got into studio mode. The second thing I did was Richard, I did sacrifice a chicken. So not several though. Just had to do one, but
I polished off a bucket of chickens.
Yeah, go back to Major League. They brought the Serrano, the bucket of chicken. Yep. So I went into studio mode, and the great thing about studio mode is you can make, on the left side, it's, at least in mine, and it looks like it's in yours, left side is preview, right side is live.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So preview is over here, and live is over
program. Here. Yeah. Program, they call it. And so I could be making modifications to scenes on the preview side, because you can actually flip through. Yeah, go ahead and flip through, and I could make changes here in some cases. In my case with Mr. Campbell, I had to just go into that guest view, make sure his NDI popped up, which was why everybody saw kind of a video kind of shake in Teams, because that's when he got his video started. Yeah. It's like, okay, So, and the whole time he and I are talking on direct messages, trying not to have audio pump out through, because the way Teams does audio in NDI, everybody on the call comes through the audio.
Yes.
So I knew I couldn't talk to him, and luckily he's and he had to restart his video also. That's right. And so what we did is I added him, I got him set up, and then that's when I introduced him, and then brought him, and then I closed. The way I had to do this personally, because I use a stream deck, I had to set my scene back to the scene that was live.
Yeah.
And then when I close the studio mode, I could then switch to the 3-shot.
Well, you could also pick the shot that you want in the preview and then use the slider in the middle to change, basically to switch. So now what was your program is now your preview. What was your preview is now your program.
Yeah. But because I'm using the Stream Deck, keeping the preview window open actually messes me up. So that's why I drop into close out that preview mode, and then I switch to the 3-person. Now on the back end, that was a disaster. That was an unmitigated disaster, just trying to get them in. Primarily, the whole identity issue. Just so everyone, I know I brought it up earlier. Mr. Campbell runs a couple of Microsoft tenants. I actually use a personal tenant because that allows me to enable NDI in Teams.
Yeah.
And I don't have to deal with trying to get that approved and allocated, especially in my org. I don't think I would get approval, because why would I need NDI in my day job? I don't. It's only in my work with Patch and Switch and with Pierre here in testing and production.
Yep.
So that's why I was on my personal account trying to invite him to a meeting that was created in Microsoft.com account. It was kludgy as heck.
Yeah, so you were in AAD Inception.
Yes, I was in AAD Inception. And what finally tipped it, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I can go get the click to join link. And I sent that, and that's what fixed it all. If I remember that, isn't that right, Richard? That there was a click to join link that finally fixed it to where he could then see it and join the meeting. But
that's why, because right now we're using Skype, because first of all, Skype over a mobile connection, as you are currently, is a lot less heavy than the full Teams client. So why aren't you using Skype from now on? Or is it because you need to see that little that wallet mark in the corner?
I need to talk with the talent, as they call themselves. Yeah, they call themselves the talent.
Who will make the decision, the hair or the hat?
I don't know. Probably hair. Yes. Oh, and that was the best part. So I pasted the link into a Twitch DM between me and Richard. Oh, it was if I could have had a recording of the back end, that would have been just hilarious. All while they were talking, and everyone's, I'm normally somewhat interactive throughout I had a couple of people DM me like, everything okay? You're awfully quiet. Because I was like trying to figure this all out.
So Mr. Campbell says that the video and audio codecs for Skype and Teams is literally the same, but for some reason they don't seem to behave the same on a desktop. I don't know if it's the client that's heavier in terms of resources, or if it's all the things that are around it that make it heavier.
I think it's the client. In fact, that's actually one of the things they announced at the same time they were announcing Windows 11 is we're going to see an improved Teams client. One, we're going to see a Teams client like integrated into Windows OS, but we're also going to see better Windows client or better Teams clients, period, that don't use as much memory. And I think that's because they're getting rid of the whole Electron and they're switching to Edge WebView.
So I had chat yesterday, which is the new Teams, or what's slated to replace Teams, not Teams, but Skype on the desktop. and I got another update this morning, and it's no longer there. So I assume it was pushed in error.
Possibly.
And so far, when I did test it, was it yesterday or today, 2 days ago? Anyway, it only worked for MSA accounts, so Microsoft accounts. It didn't work for business accounts, which means we can't replace the full Teams client with the built-in one for now.
Yeah,
that might change, but for now,
that may. A couple of questions, a couple of things in chat. Mr. Campbell said it was a good 20 minutes worth of work. They're both using Electron, and the whole problem he and I had was identity. So yes. Scott Metzel did bring up, yes, Electron, I think, is the source of some of the higher resources. TRP 8472 is not at his post, but asking questions. Maybe it's worth asking re-teams if organizations add apps within teams. Is there a performance or a resource hit when you start adding those apps or functions? That's a great question. I believe there is a bit of a performance hit there.
There might be.
Yep. Mr. Campbell also says Skype for Business dies this month. It's going to die, and I am going to celebrate its passing.
I will volunteer to dig the hole.
Yes, exactly. The Guar. Hello, the Guar. Does anyone know if Teams can do presence with Cisco Call Manager so I can replace Jabber? I will say there may be. I don't know if it's officially supported by Cisco. I know when, and this is Skype for Business, not Teams. But when the company before I came back to Microsoft, we were going to a whole VoIP system, and we actually had it had a presence, and we were able to use a third-party tool, which then tied the presence of Teams to the phone. Yeah. So that you could see if someone was on the phone, even if they weren't physically using the phone, but they were doing a Skype for Business call.
It's not using the proper SIP provider though.
It could. Well, in this case,
or there was their own SIP provider and Teams as its own, and never the two shall meet. Is that the problem?
That could be. Vizio MVP said, beware, you do have more, even more dark clouds coming your way. So,
possible.
TRP 8472. Yes, I am outside here. You missed the beginning of the show. I am outside. I am at a park in St. Regis, Montana. And you can see the car that's fully packed behind me. So, yes, I am on the road doing this, and I am outside. Yeah. And as the sun keeps moving, I'm having to slide down the table here and turn the camera because I notice it's getting brighter and brighter. Scott, I miss Link like I miss an old 80s video game. Wow. Okay.
Actually, there was some old 80s video games that were kind of fun.
There were.
Link's was not one of them.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. But let's see here. Where are we at? We got 12 minutes left. We covered most everything we were talking about, planning to talk about. Yes. I was also going to bring up. So last week, I had my backup system all set to go.
Yes.
For the patch and switch. So I actually had OBS running on a laptop and I was in the Teams call, and I had everything. If my machine would have blue screened, I could have just turned over and said start streaming, and would have been able to go straight from my laptop like within seconds.
That's the one thing I'd like, because I've set up environments like that where we're streaming to YouTube's, and YouTube's provide you a primary and a backup stream key and URL. So that you could set up two different machines and that are both streaming at the same time, and if the primary goes down, it magically switches to the backup.
Correct.
Twitch does not offer that, from what I understand.
Well, at least not for the levels that we have accounts at. I don't know if we were partner if they would, but we
Okay.
would have to have, I mean, it's great. We have 13 people here today, including I see TRP 8472, Scott Metzel, and somebody else, Laguar, showed up, realizing that, hey, the guys are back on.
We're on vacation, but we're still. This is not real.
We're still live. No, it's not real work.
It's not real work.
I mean, I'm taking this as a nice break from not having to drive. So, it is, it's something that having a backup system and knowing I had a backup and seeing that all the audio, everything was working. Now, the only thing the backup wouldn't have had would have been having my lovely Stream Decks connected to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I would have had to do everything manually with mouse and touch screen and stuff. I was ready to do it.
Or you just get the Stream Deck app on your phone that mirrors the configuration that you have, and you just have the config loaded on both. So instead of the physical device, you basically turn your phone into a physical device.
Yep, or my iPad.
I think we covered that in like our first episode or our second episode.
Second episode, I believe.
Yeah. Oh,
so
and that's I'm been asked to, because I've changed the way I'm doing meetings. I've done a couple of EBCs lately, and for the non-blue badge vernacular initiated EBCs or executive briefing centers presentation. So you're talking to big wigs of big corporations that want to they're considering your technology. And I was watching two things. Scott Goo's the unplugged or from home keynote that he did at Build. And a couple of videos from Scott Enselman where he's included inside the slides. And another one where he's using a second laptop as a not a green screen, but a whiteboard, but it overlaps. And I've showed you that before. So I'm like, how can I change the way I present? Because I don't want to be the little corner in Teams. I want to be able to be full on, but I still want to be able to see the presentation or the together view of everybody else that's in there. So I kind of took an approach where a combination of those three techniques that Scott had, where half of his screen he had kind of like a transparent slide, so you could see the text and the logos and the little arrows and the flows, but you couldn't see like the background of the slide. So I started working with that. So now I've been asked to document this because it was very, very big. Big for me, not big for anybody else, but it was very well received, and I got a lot of comments on how this new approach was more inclusive. So in Teams, as I started,
I'm in Montana. You wave at everybody that goes by.
It's a friendly state. So
it is a friendly state.
In Teams, I would go and right-click on my own video and say, "Spotlight me." So I become the main view on everybody's, and then I would overlay my slide deck to my video feed with a slide that has like a really obnoxious green background. That I'm using chroma key to remove, so that all my text, my slides, like the information I want to convey is there, but I don't want them to read the slides. It's not the point, and I don't want them, because I'm guilty of that. When you're on a Teams and somebody's presenting a slides, and you go ahead in the slide deck because you want to see what's coming. It's almost like you're making a subconscious decision. Do I need to pay attention to this?
Yes.
So I wanted to avoid all that. So I've been asked to document it, and I'm going to pair it with control plane And I'm actually going to include the link to our video from testing and production. So that's going to go to a lot of folks in
Oh, wow.
advocacy.
Wow. Okay. So we sounds like we got to get editing videos. What I'm hearing. Jared, got to work. No, it's perfect. Something I like that myself. I've been trying to figure out. My problem right now is trying to figure out how to get my video from my home machine to my corp machine without breaking those security rules that are there. And NDI, I'm trying to use NDI, but you can't install NDI on without certain things, certain settings in Active Directory. So trying to figure it out.
Well, the way we're doing it, I think it's fine. Where we uploaded to an Azure blob storage, and then from there we can download it anywhere.
True.
So TRP8472 says, I didn't know they made an app for iPhone. So yes, they do. So once we get off our collective backsides,
yes,
we will update and put all those on our YouTube channel. And I think the first episode is there, but not the others.
Right, correct. So I've got to go through and I've been the lacking one prepping for this trip to New York. The good thing is I'll have some time while I'm in New York because my mom goes to bed early. So I can go over to the office and edit video in the evenings or drop into Verdansk. One of the two.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe both.
So Scott's asking me that in my solution, how many computers am I actually using? Just once, just one.
Mm-hmm. Just one.
The only just one. The only you could do it on one screen, one computer. I have to say that having a second screen, because I'm doing the presentation mode on a second screen, and I'm doing the capture of that screen onto my feed. But you could do it, except that you wouldn't be able to see both at the same time.
Yeah. And I'm upset at you, man.
Why? What did I do?
You had the perfect setup to, one computer only, Vitaly.
One thing only.
One computer only. Throw in the little Sean Connery there from Hunt for Red October. Yes, the Guar. Yes, I'm driving to New York. Yes. I am lucky. We are going to be going back to the office at least 50% of the time in September. And I decided I was going to, I saw my mom. I flew out and saw my mother while I was out. And I flew out to New York. And, she's not doing too good. So I decided I'm going to take the 2 months here and drive out. And that way I have a car.
Yep.
Because I know you can't rent a car these days. Oh my goodness. Rental prices. The weekend that I went out to see the week I went out to see my mom, if I would have rented a car at JFK, it was going to be like $750 for like a little, like a mid-sized car.
Really?
And I got an SUV for $420, which I laughed at, out of Islip. But I had to take the train from JFK to Islip, but I'm like, so worth it.
Wow.
So, yep.
Wow. So Scott Metzel says it's interesting, and he's pouring one out for Mr. Connery.
Of course, we should.
Yes. If let us know in the comments if you're interested, because I have to document this for my own team. But if you're interested in seeing it, because we are always, Jared and I, every couple of weeks, we meet. We actually do have a production meeting to figure out what the hell we're going to talk about.
Oh,
their show, yes.
We had an FY22 planning meeting. That basically we drank beer. It was beer talk the whole time.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So, But yeah, we would love to know what you're interested in, what we can try, and especially if it's streaming, if it's something else. I mean, I gotta admit, I've now set up Mr. Wired Canucks dynamic DNS system on one of my domains in Azure that I have. So thank you. Yes, I did.
It works pretty good.
Yeah, it works great. And it allows me, I'm still trying to work through, I've got a bug. I got to maybe talk to the folks at Ubiquity, where the VPN, all the configuration, everything's fine, and I still can't connect to the VPN. So
Might be your ISP that's blocking some of those ports.
I don't think it is, because I know the ISP, and I actually talked to their director of engineering. I'm like, hey, you blocking ports? He's like, no, why? I'm like, okay. Yes. So.
All right. So
but,
it is 1 o'clock. I am going to have to go check my start.
No, it's 10 o'clock. What are you talking about? 1 o'clock.
Well, it's
10 o'clock. Actually, hold on. It's 11. Wait, no, it's 10. Wait, it's 11. It's 1. Wait, what?
It's beer o'clock somewhere.
Oh, I have some Bellevue Brewing brews for Mr. J Flow. I could grab one and join you here.
I'm on vacation today, so I'm not drinking at work.
Technically. No, this has been great. Thanks everybody for joining us. Especially, I know it's a holiday weekend for most people. Right. You're heading into possible holidays.
Happy Freedom Day to our Americans for this weekend.
And happy Canada Day to our Canadian folks. That was 2 days ago. Yesterday.
That was
2 days ago. That was yesterday. And by the way, and I meant to send you a card for this. Happy new fiscal year.
Oh yes. Oh yes. That starts to yesterday. Well, I was off yesterday, so and I'm off today technically. So yeah, it is started. I've already started getting the emails.
Oh, we all have.
And it's funny because we've seen in the last few weeks, we've seen a wave. It's annually gets this wave of people that leave Microsoft. They always wait till the end of fiscal, so they make sure they get their bonus and their payout, and then they go on to either another role or another job. And then the week after that, or 2 weeks after that, you see like the wave of new people coming in.
And then there's also the reorgs. It's reorg time.
Not for us.
We didn't get reorged either, but I know folks in the customer experience teams, the old PFE, that are all
so services or CSC. I can't remember what they're called now. There's too many acronyms. Have been reorged, but it's mostly because Louis Philippe is Jean-Louis Philippe,
and so did the director of MSUS, Kate Johnson. She's retired too.
Okay, so now that reorg is right under Judson, so they had to figandle some stuff, play with it to make it fit.
Yes. So, thanks again, everybody. Please, as I typed in the chat room, please be safe. I know it's a holiday weekend, especially with the kind of holiday here in the U.S. where the fireworks. Please be safe. Enjoy. Have fun. Be safe, because we like seeing you here every Friday, either for Patch and Switch or for testing and production.
That's right. And if whatever you want to see, you can either put it in the chat or send it to us on Twitter. Exactly.
Tweet it at us. All right.
Stay safe, my friend. Have a nice drive.
Will do. We'll talk soon.
Yep.
Take care.
Bye-bye. See you, everyone. I'll make sure. Okay. Yeah. Cheers.
Do you have the music in?
I do.
Cheers?
Yeah, I do.